Mr. Bean, you're getting your groove back. I'm liking it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Who else do we have here? You're not alone. I know you're not. Dr. Singer. Boy, I don't blame you for standing next to this beauty. (1953) 301A. Gonna be heading out to New Jersey. Just love that crest. Look at that. Spectacular. Spectacular. All right, guys, thanks for getting everything set up. I'm going to move you guys out of the way so we can jump into some sew-offs on this 301A. A 301A, by the way, that belongs to Alice McNally from the great state of New Jersey. And Alice is one of, if you saw one of those premieres a while back where I introduced the Stitchin' Sisters, Alice is one of the Stitchin' Sisters. And she's got obviously two other sisters with her that are also ones that have grown up with sewing and kind of self-taught and just a great powerhouse of projects that they've done over the years. So let me tell you a little bit about this machine first of all. That was, as I already said, was born in 1953. And the thing when you're looking at the Slant-O-Matic machines is they break them out in brackets, and then they also break them out by serial number. But really when they break them out by serial number, they're only giving you the year of manufacture, and they're not giving you the month and day. So this one, if you want to look it up for practice, is N as in Nancy, A as in Alice, 219105. So N as in Nancy, A as in Alice, 219105. Now, the NA series bracket that covers a couple of different Slant-O-Matics actually started back in 1951. And then there were two other brackets that were that followed after that. The NB bracket, which started in 1956, and then the NC bracket that started in 1961. And many of you have sent messages to Hans and Bill and myself and said, okay, I'm confused about the 301 versus the 301A. What's the difference? You know, for all practical purposes, there's not any significant difference at all with them, apart from where they were manufactured. As you would guess, if we zoom in on this beautiful branding medallion right here, and you can see that it says 301A. Well, the A is going to signify that it was manufactured in Anderson, South Carolina, versus many of the 301s that were manufactured in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And so that's the main difference right there, is where these machines were born as far as the factory. The other big difference between them is the 301 was very short-lived. The 301 came out in 1952, and guess what? It ended in 1952. They only ran 1 year of production on the 301. And in that 1 year period in 1952, they only made 185,750. Whereas the 301A that you see before you right now started being manufactured a year after the 301 in 1953, and it was manufactured until 1957. So basically a four-year run on the 301A versus the 301 that only ran for a year. And in that 4-year period for the 301A, they made over 500,000, specifically 514,250. And those again were made in Anderson, South Carolina versus Elizabeth, New Jersey. Now, some of the other Slant-O-Matics that many of you have watched on this channel, and many of you own, let me give you a little bit of a skinny on some of those. The 401A. I have talked to so many people that is their go-to machine. They absolutely adore their 401A, and I don't blame them. It's a fabulous machine. That machine started in production in 1956 and went until 1961. Following that, they came out with the 403A, and that started in production in 1958 and went until 1960. Then on the scene came the 404, which most of you know is a straight stitch only machine, and that started in 1958 and went until 1963. And then our next machine in the lineup of the Slant-O-Matics was the 500A, and that started in 1961 and went until 1963. And last but certainly not least, one of my favorites, I call it the Cruise Line, and one of the proud Rocketeer machines that came out of the Singer factories, the 503A, that started in production in 1961, just like the 500A, and also like the 500A, ended production in 1963. So hopefully a lot of you that have sent questions, that will provide some insights as to that Slant-O-Matic family. When did they start? When did they end? And that age-old question of, what's the difference between a 301 and a 301A? That was kind of a weird voice. Well, now you know. So let me do this. Let me zoom in on the needle, and we will do a little bit of sewing with Alice's 301A. And also, since we're focused kind of on the needle right now, you can kind of see the top of the needle coming down. I will tell you as a free tip that you don't need to worry about which way the flat side goes on the 301A. Well, you do, but you don't. What I mean by that is there's only one way that the needle will go in. I've mentioned this in other premieres. The needle shaft is designed in such a way it will only receive the needle with the flat side to the left. You try to do it any other way, you're going to be there just beating your head against the floor, because it's not going to happen. And then finally, after you get done threading the machine, which is real easy, you're going to be threading this through the needle from right to left. Okay? And also you notice as well, I love the needle plate here where they've got the markings so you can set your seams and be spot on. Another great feature of the 301, 301A, the big sisters to the featherweight. And if you're brand new to this channel, I'll just mention very briefly, the primary reason, let me come out on this shot. I came all the way in and now I'm coming all the way back out again. The primary reason that the 301, 301A came onto the scene in 1952, 1953 time frame is because those featherweight owners, particularly the ones that got it when it first rolled out into that Chicago World's Fair back in the 1930s, and they loved their featherweight. But at the same time, as that marriage went on, they grew a little bit weary of some of the shortcomings of the featherweight as well, and that was the workspace between the needle and the pillar, the overall ability to turn material with larger projects. Also, the power of the motor. The featherweight, as most of you know, has a 0.4 amp motor. The 301, 301A come with a 0.6 amp motor, Plus, that motor is vertically mounted right over in this area here. And you never have to worry about a belt because it's direct drive. At the top of the machine, adjacent to the balance wheel, you've got an all-metal worm gear that interlaces with the balance wheel and provides immediate burst and positive traction to this machine. So unlike the featherweight, which sometimes, well, obviously you have to replace the belt, but also you would have some slippage sometimes if you decided to push that little 0.4 amp motor a little bit further than it was comfortable with, and you would get some slippage at launch. You're not going to experience that with this 301A or the 301 because of that positive traction feature of the machine. And all the Slantomatics are set up in that same manner with that vertically mounted motor, 0.6 amps of immediate attack the project. So that's another, I think another plus that a number of those featherweight owners that love their featherweights then said, well, I think I'd like my featherweight to have a big sister. And there, 1952, 1953, the 301, 301A came onto the scene, and then that featherweight owner had the best of all worlds. Isn't that great? We like our featherweight owners to be happy. All right, let's zoom in on that. And I'm going to get something to drink real quick. You can as well if you'd like. And then we're going to do some sewing with this very cool 301A that belongs to Alice McNally out of the great state of New Jersey. All right, how about a little bit of music first, though? Oh, I'm liking this one. Da, 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 da. Come on now. If you don't want to sing, you got to snap. All right. Let's start super thin. We're talking like paper thin. Let's buzz down this. And I'm not going to take it at full power, but I might give it a little bit of gas just for fun. All right. Here we go. Get ready. Launch right now. Holy mackerel, I went off course. I looked over by the computer and it was like, uh-oh. They're going to take away my driver's license. Hey, you know what? I could probably get rid of this big old case behind it. I had this case, you may have seen it behind Alice's machine. It's an original trapezoid carrying case so that Alice is able to take the machine away from the house to quilting classes, sewing classes, etc. Holy mackerel, did I go off course. But that was still fun. Alright, just ignore the fact I went off course. We'll zoom in on these real quick. From start to finish. Beautiful. All right, let me come out of this shot a little bit. We'll flip it around and look at that lock stitch. We'll try to look at the lock stitch. Ah! Jiminy crickets. Come on there, buddy. All right. That's not the perfect angle, but that's what I'm going with because it just keeps falling over. So there's our lock stitch. There's where I went totally off course. Spacing, the formation, integrity of the stitch is just absolutely spot on. Exactly what we want to see, folks. Right there, that's exactly what we want to be seeing. Beautiful stitching. So this is absolutely a pass, this launch sewing with this super thin layer of mystery leather, fake leather slash, maybe it's an alligator, you never know, sew off. So, but again, what I'm trying to do is just show you that you're able to deliver quality, world-class stitching, whether the material is thick or thin. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to Alice's machine anyway. All right, let me lock that back in place. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shorten that stitch up dramatically. And I'm going to take on a task that most people would shudder in trying to sew with any stitch length, but in particular when you shorten that stitch length up, it intensifies that piercing challenge even more. And I'm talking about genuine alkyd. So we're going to go through a layer of genuine alkyd, but we're going to do it with a stitch length of close to 20 stitches per inch. You heard me right. Close to 20 stitches per inch. That's intense. All right, let me get it lined up. And I will have no music on right now so that you can enjoy listening to Alice's machine do its thing. Wipe over that real quick. Okay, again, we're right around close to 20 stitches per inch. A single layer of genuine alkyd. If you're not familiar with this alkyd, look at it from the side. It's like a belt, folks. 4 to 5 ounces of chemically treated alkyd, which right away, as soon as you chemically treat a leather, it pushes that piercing threshold through the roof. And now we're intensifying that challenge even more by shortening that stitch down to almost 20 stitches per inch, going through a material as dense as this. Let's see what we get. Let's see how we do. You ready? Of course you are. All right, here we go. And I'm going to try to not go off course this time. I'm going to give it a little bit of gas, but I'm going to try to not crash and burn like I did on the last sew off. Here we go. Yes, I made it all the way to the end. It's a miracle. And folks, I'm still only about 40 to 45% of the way down in that foot controller. You know that there is a lot of reserve power in this 301A now. And I say now because, and I've got to emphasize this, I get questions all the time from folks, and they'll say something like, can a 301A do such and such? Or what do you think about a 301 doing this sort of sewing? Once a machine leaves the factory, it's no longer equal. It's no longer equal, folks. And so it's like going on a used car lot. It's like going on a used car lot. you're not going to expect, if you're looking at two cars of the exact year, make, and model, you're not going to assume, gosh, I hope you're not going to assume, otherwise you need somebody to go with you if you're going to buy a car. You're not going to assume that those two cars are going to perform exactly the same. You're not going to assume that they've been maintained exactly the same. You're not going to assume that they're going to be able to have the same longevity. In other words, how long is that car going to last? Everything's different about that car. The same thing about sewing machines. So one 301 may be able to accomplish a task, another one won't. It'll be dead in the water because it's been maintained, it's been serviced in a different manner. The equalizer is when you have a 301 in this workshop, because I go from bobbin to balance wheel and make sure that everything is optimized so that the full capacity of that machine can be enjoyed, just like Alice is right now. So let me zoom in on these stitches that we just did. 20 stitches per inch on genuine alkyd, absolutely insane. And let's see how Alice's machine did on this task. Absolutely spectacular. Look at it again from the edge, folks. We just sewed through a belt, basically. Beautiful stitching, formation, the spacing. And we're talking at that intensity level of 20 stitches per inch. Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Let me come out of the shot a little bit. We'll flip it around and look at that lock stitch. We'll try to look at that lock stitch. These things never cooperate. See if I can cheat a little bit. Okay, that may not be the ideal angle, but we'll see what we can see. So there's our lock stitch. No difference. Spacing, formation, integrity of the stitch. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. From start to finish. And again, look at the edge of that, folks. So this alkyd, which in and of itself is a huge challenge to any machine, could not thwart Alice's 301A, even when we dropped the stitch length all the way down to 20 stitches per inch. So this is a definite pass. I'm going to move this to the rear, and we're going to keep on moving forward. Put on a little bit more music, get a quick drink of water or lemonade, and you can do the same thing. Let's see what we have here. Oh, this ought to be fun. So that last one was called Night at the Dance Hall. And this next one is called Dub Trippin'. Dub Trippin'. Not making it up, folks. It's almost kind of a creepy one, isn't it? All right, let me zoom back in on there. I'm definitely not going to play this when we sew. All right, Well, dub tripping is kind of an acquired taste. I'm not a big fan of that one. So, all right. So what we're going to sew next is a real thin piece of cotton blend material. And we'll see how Alice's machine does with this task. We haven't been able to trip it up or cause it to even blink. Let's see if this causes it to blink. I doubt it. All right. So again, a real super thin layer. You can kind of see it from the side. Super thin layer of cotton blend. Go ahead and bring this to the highest point. And let's see how Alice's machine does on this. And I'm going to try to really, I'll do my best to hold that power back. But this machine is definitely a go-getter. Definitely a go-getter. All right, here we go. Once to get my foot on the foot control. You see what I'm saying, folks? It's just like, I'm trying to hold it back, and it's like, I don't think so. I don't think so, buddy. This is going to be kind of a hard one to see. We'll see what we can see. I may almost go vertical with this one. It may be a little bit easier to see it. It's going to be one of those tough ones. Let's try it like this. Let's see what we can see from this angle. Yeah, let's go like this. Yeah, you can see them a little bit better at the start, but it's probably going to be hard because of the angle. But the spacing, the formation is absolutely spot on. I got a little hill thing going there. It's kind of cool. Absolutely spot on. From start, it's a long sew off, to finish. All right, let me flip this over and see if we can see that lock stitch. Yeah, I'm going to try to stand it up. I think that maybe, it's hard to say. It's hard to say when you're getting with this real thin layer. Yeah, this is a better angle. You can really see the stitch definition much better from this angle. I should have done that with the other side. So this again is our lock stitch. And the spacing, the formation is absolutely spot on in every respect. Looking really good. So this super duper thin layer of cotton blend is a definite pass. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this to the rear as well. And I don't think we have a huge number of sew-offs left. Alice is kind of anxious to get this machine. And so I promised her that I wouldn't make this a super long premiere, so that I'm hopefully able to get this machine heading on its way sooner than later. Okay, how about a little bit more music? Because my energy level is a little bit low today. I don't know if you can tell. Again, that doggone hemoglobin is not where it needs to be, and I'm still kind of battling the energy factor a little bit, which is really irritating. Okay, so that last one was called Dub Trippin', and I wasn't a big fan of that. The next one we're going to do is called Reggae and the Dub Wiseman. Let's see what this one sounds like. Oh, I'm liking this so far. Oh my gosh, that was 7 seconds. That's exactly how long it was. Okay, this next one is 1 minute and 19 seconds, a little bit better. I'm going to grab another little drink here. Why don't we sew some nylon webbing? I don't think we've done nylon webbing for a while. Flip my screen around. And nylon webbing, again, is basically a toe strap that has a tensile rating of 2,000 pounds. And we're going to be doing 2 layers of this stuff. So total tensile rating on this is 4,000 pounds. And I think what we'll do, and this is going to be nearly impossible to see the stitching, just so you know. I've got kind of an off-white thread on yellow, a nightmare. But I do want you to listen to the machine running as it's going through a catacomb type material like this that is designed to tow cars and indirectly designed to resist a needle like this going through it. And we'll see how Alice's 1953 Singer 301A gets the job done here. And you know what? Let's even raise the stakes a little bit higher. Let's go from around 6 stitches per inch up to, or I should say down to, right around 10. I think I'm right between 10 and 12. And I'll try to go down and around if I can harness this beast. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to stop there. And I'm sorry for a little bit of a pause there. I had a fruit fly that was literally trying to attack my hand as I was trying to maneuver that material. It's got to be one of the most despised little creatures in the world, those fruit flies. They can be so pesty. All right, here we go. To the finish. No, I'm not going to close the box. It's not going to happen. All right, let me go ahead and pop this up and we'll see what we can see, but I'm not anticipating we're going to be able to see a whole lot because of the color blending issue. But you never know, maybe we'll be surprised. Whoops. So again, what we just sewed is 2 layers of this nylon webbing, basically a toe strap. Each one of these layers is rated at 2,000 pounds tensile strength. So we just buzzed through And we did do a shorter stitch too to make the challenge even a little bit greater. We went to 12 stitches per inch. So let me see if we can see anything. We'll zoom in on this and check it out. Yeah, you kind of can see it. I go really, really slow. That's really tough to see. There's our turn. There you can really see that stitch definition. And as we're moving from right to left, that bottom row is popping through a little bit more clearly too. And did you notice how easily Alice's machine got the job done? There was no struggle. There was a little bit of a fluxing as far as the speed regulation, but that's me. That's me trying to harness that the power of that machine, which is substantial. And now we're looking at the lock stitch. Whoops. If I don't kick the camera over, we are. Now we're going to look at the lock stitch. I've got to move that just a little bit more. We'll look at the lock stitch and see how Alice's machine did with this very, very difficult task. So we'll come across the top, which is virtually impossible to see. It just totally blends in. There you can see it a little bit on the edge. Coming over to here. You see that catacomb design. It's just like, yeah, try to get through, buddy. And then our vertical right there, which also presents well. So this is a definite pass, folks. This is a definite pass. Different color thread, we would have been able to see it even more clearly, but you know, the proof is in the pudding. This is stitched together, and guess what? It's not gonna. I'm pulling on it really hard. It's not gonna go anywhere. So, 2 layers of nylon webbing. Not an easy task, but Alice has got the job done with no trouble whatsoever. Kind of like a little blink. A little blink. So what do we have left? We've got some leather, we've got some denim, heavy grade denim. We've got some leather stretchy stuff. We've got some compressed felt. I don't know if we're going to do all of these. We might. But first of all, I'm going to put on a little bit of music to inspire me. We've almost gone through the whole list. Let's see here. Our reggae is a tough word to spell, don't you think? I do. I think reggae is a tough word to spell. All right, let's put on the next one. It's called Birkin Electric. Birkin Electric. Oh yeah, this is helping. It's helping me anyway. All right. I think we'll do some leather next. And this is going to be a piece of protected full grain leather. It actually, I cut it in half. It was designed like a patch. You see how it's rounded on the bottom? So let's just buzz around this a little bit and have some fun. And I'm going to shorten the stitch just so I can have at least a fighting chance of not going off course. All right, here we go. See that? I can slow it down. Maybe. I better not talk too soon. Yikes. All right, let's head down. That is fun! Gosh, I have all that space in the middle. I feel like I should do something. Let's see here. How about down and around one more time? What do you think? And I'll lengthen that stitch just a little bit. I'm getting a little bit more confident now. Hopefully not misplaced confidence. All right, here we go. I am totally going to cheat and turn here. And one more turn and I'll close the box. Good gravy. Well, for not running at 100%, and I'm talking about me, not Alice's machine, that wasn't too bad. That was not too bad. All right. So on the outer edge, we probably did, oh gosh, 12 to 15 stitches per inch. And then we brought it up to about 8 to 10 stitches per inch. We just kind of buzzed around a little bit. Just had a little bit of fun. You don't have fun when you're sewing, what's the point, right? So there you can see we started on that outer edge, noticeably smaller as we were buzzing around. Then we went to that inner edge. Beautiful stitching. All right, let's turn it around and look at that lock stitch. Isn't that cool? It just shows you how stitching can have an artistic quality even when you're just goofing off. You know, we weren't looking to make a work of art. We were just kind of buzzing around, giving you a chance to hear Alice's machine run. Kind of started on that outer edge there again. There's our lock stitch. Beautiful stitching. Then we went to that inner row of stitching. A little bit longer. You can see that here in the shot. I take my hand off the camera. See how we lengthen that second row a little bit on that inside. Yeah, there you can really see the contrast. And again, has an artistic appealy, there's our new word. And all we did was goof off a little bit, just kind of had fun. And again, this is it's going to be a protected full grain leather. It's thick stuff, real thick stuff, and Alice's machine got the job done with no difficulty whatsoever. So I'm throwing that to the rear. Also as a success. What next? We do some heavy grade denim maybe? Not that we haven't already proven what this machine is capable of. So I'm going to put the denim right there. Grab a little bit more water. This next one is called Tin Spirit. I'm going to see if I can get 6 layers out of this denim. We'll see. Okay, we're starting with 2 layers. I'm going to go ahead and fold it towards me, getting us up to 4 layers. And then I'm going to fold it one more time, get us all the way up to 6 layers. I've got to turn my screen around. All the way up to 6 layers. Let me slide that underneath the presser foot, then I'm going to check my camera shot. Oh yeah, we're way too far out. Look at the thickness of that, folks. That's absolutely insane. So 6 layers of heavy grade denim. Let's see how this 301A does with a task like this. You ready? Of course you are. Here we go. I'm just kind of goofing around, kind of throttling up and down there. Hold on 1 second. Turn that volume back a little bit. That's a little bit too loud. All right, let's buzz down one more time. You've had ample opportunity to hear Alice's machine run. we're going to do one more row. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten it up so we can contrast the stitches side by side. So we're going to go from 6 down to about 12. All right, here we go. Oh boy, that's teeny tiny. I think I wanted closer to 15 stitches per inch. That is teeny tiny. A little bit of a challenge to see on this denim too. Almost have to pull it back. So again, we have 6 layers of denim. Look at it from the side. Just give me an appreciation of what we just did. Here, I'll turn it like this. The first row we did is the one on the bottom, obviously. And then the second row is on top, which is teeny tiny. We'll really have to zoom in on that so you can see it. I'll do my best. But in both instances, where I get notes regularly from people that are trying to sew much less denim than this, and Alice's machine just got the job done like a blink. We'll start all the way over there because that's where our stitching goes to. Spacing formation is absolutely spot on. Beautiful stitching from start to finish. Then we took that stitch, excuse me, we took that stitch from right around 6 stitches per inch all the way down to, I think, close to 15. And yeah, you can see the difference, the contrast. And again, I could try to pull them back, but they're absolutely perfect. They're just a lot more teeny tiny. Kind of see that as I zoom out. Beautiful stitching. Exactly what we want to be seeing. So let me turn it around. Let's look at the lock stitch. Another one of those where it's not level on the bottom, so I'm kind of struggling with it. All right, hopefully it doesn't fall over. So this again is our lock stitch through 6 layers of heavy grade denim. I'm going to show you both rows at the same time just to consolidate time. So on the bottom we have 6 stitches per inch. On the top we have about 15 stitches per inch. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. So this is a definite pass as well. These 6 layers of heavy grade denim. I'm going to go ahead and toss this to the back. Jiminy Crickets. So far we've done 6 layers of heavy grade denim. We've done protected full grain leather. We've done nylon webbing. We've done cotton blend. We've done genuine alkyd. And then we did that other real thin layer of whatever that stuff is, fake leather / alligator, blah, blah, blah. So I could probably stop right here because Alice's machine has more than proven her point of she's ready to get the job done. Absolutely ready to get the job done. Let me come out on this shot for just a moment, and we will move towards wrapping this premiere up. All right. Yeah, my steam level is pretty low today, folks. I'm sorry about that. So the last one we heard is Tin Spirit. And this next one is called, and I think I've played this before, Satisfaction Guaranteed. Satisfaction Guaranteed. See that? The best of both worlds at the workshop here. You get a machine that's absolutely drop dead gorgeous and a machine that will sew the pants off of any other machine out there. Not sure if that makes any sense, sewing the pants off of another machine, but you know what I mean. All right. Let's do U.S. Army grade canvas. So we're starting with 2 layers. I'm going to go ahead and fold it, get us up to 4, get us up to 6, and get us up to 8 layers of U.S. Army grade canvas. Let's go ahead and get that underneath the presser foot, and we'll see how our 301A that belongs to Alice McNally, heading out to the great state of New Jersey, does with a task like this. And I'm going to go ahead and move us from around 15 stitches per inch back down to 6 stitches per inch to do this sew off. All right, here we go. Oops, I better bring my needle, my take-up arm all the way up. There we go. Here we go. Well, wouldn't it have been nice if that was a little bit of a challenge? Just a little bit. No. So 8 layers of U.S. Army grade canvas and Alice McNally's 301A just sewed it like it was a light cotton. I mean, literally, you saw it live on the premiere. Now let's look at these stitches. That's where the rubber meets the road in a sense, right? That's where the rubber meets the road. And I hope the rubber stops moving around. All right, let's take a look at these. So again, 8 layers of U.S. Army grade canvas. And from start to finish. And look at that. Just a wee bit of insanity, folks. Spacing the formation. It just doesn't get any better than that, folks. It just doesn't. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's come out of this shot a little bit and take a look at that lock stitch. Which I can already tell you is equally pizzazz, equally gorgeous. It's our lock stitch, folks. Spacing the formation. Absolutely perfection. Perfection. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful stitching. So the 8 layers of U.S. Army grade canvas are, it's a no-brainer. That's a definite pass. I'm going to go ahead and throw it to the rear. Move these clips out of the way. Give Alice's machine's bed just a quick little wipe off. I think I'll do some compressed felt. I just don't know how we can top that last sew off. That was just phenomenal. But I think we'll do our 3 layers of compressed felt with Alice's 301A. And I may call it quits there, because this machine has more than proven she's ready to get the job done. Don't you agree? The scope of sew-offs that we've already done, confirmation sew-offs, gee whiz. But I like doing this, especially on the 301A or the 301, because they're sometimes thought of as kind of a lightweight. They're not thought of as a machine that can sew heavy grade on an ongoing basis and get the job done. But they certainly are, when they're prepared properly, that is. So here's our 3 layers of compressed felt. And I've talked about this with, say, the alkyd, that compressed felt is one of those materials that is really not understood. When they go through the process of compressing it, it raises that piercing threshold through the roof dramatically, because of the fibers being so compacted and so intense. So we're going to see how Alice's 301A does with a task like this, and not an easy task either. All right, here we go. It's not supposed to be an easy task. You got to struggle just a little bit, please. Just a little. Oops. The struggle is me staying on the material. That's what the struggle is. I am so far off. I'm going to be like fighting the traction here, because only like a little corner of the material is actually between the presser foot and the feed dog, so I'm going to hopefully be able to get some traction pretty quick, otherwise we're going to have a mess. Alright, here we go. Ah! Yes! And I intentionally took that slow, again, just because I don't want you to think that this thing can only blast. It sure enjoys doing it, and I enjoy blasting with it. But you can also harness that power as well. And I think that's important. I just got a call the other day from someone that has a console that's driven by a servo motor, and they're like, I've got to get something else. I cannot. I'm always sewing beyond the scope of the borders that I preset, because the machine just races past it. I feel like I'm going to lose a finger. And you don't need to have that. I mean, you can have a machine that gets the job done, but gets it done without giving you a sense of not having control. So you've got both with this 301A. You can blast it if you want, but you can also reel it in. Let's take a look at these stitches. And I'm going to try to look at both rows, just because I'm wanting to be mindful of my battery. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Even on my goofy little, I lost traction over there. It looks really, really good. So that top stitch is just absolutely, that's the cat's meow right there. That's the cat's meow. Let's turn it around and take a look at the lock stitch and see how this 301A did with a task as difficult as this. 3 layers of this compressed felt, and I'm going to have to brace it because it is not wanting to stand still. All right, let's zoom in on these. And again, no difference. The spacing, the formation, the integrity of the stitch, the glory of the stitch. Exactly as it should be. Beautiful stitching. So I'm going to zoom out on this a little bit and give this 3 layers of compressed felt an absolute pass. Alice's 301A is just knocking it out of the park. No matter what we put in front of this big sister to the featherweight, she is just like, bring it on. Bring it on, buddy. Bring it on. Well, I've got 2 other sew-offs, but I'm not even going to do them, honestly. I think that Alice's machine has more than proven. And I'm going to check my shot right now and just kind of quickly show you again what we sewed off on. Yeah, right about there, I think. Excuse me. All right, and a little bit of music to wrap up this premiere. Oh, this is fun. I love this. All right, let's bring this mound of sew-offs. Look at that, folks. Yeah. Uh-huh. So these are not going to be in order. 3 layers of compressed felt. Perfect stitching to the back. 8 layers of U.S. Army grade canvas. Perfect stitches. A single layer of genuine alkyd with about a 20 stitch per inch sewing. Nuts. And perfect stitching. Super thin layer of this either fake leather or fake alligator, blah blah blah. Perfect stitching. Cotton blend, super thin layer. Perfect stitching. Nylon webbing, tow a car, ×2. Perfect stitching. Protected full grain leather, combination of stitching where we went all the way down to like 15 stitches per inch and I think 8 to 10 stitches per inch. Perfect stitching. And last but certainly not least, our 6 layers of heavy grade denim. Perfect stitching. What can you say other than wow? And that's the way I like to do it. I want to not just have a machine that looks good. I want to have a machine that performs at the top of her game. Mission accomplished. Well, Alice, I know you're really excited to get this machine out in New Jersey. And I should probably at least pop off the tripod real quick, although, you know what, I'm not going to, because you can already see how beautiful her machine is. Like I said, I took extra time to really get that that finish just the way I wanted it. And again, just a fabulous machine. Probably, well, obviously the first Slant-O-Matic that ever came on the scene, but also probably one of my favorites because it really was an answer to people that already had fallen in love with another Singer model. A Singer model, the 221, the featherweight. And Singer was responsive and came out with this big sister to the featherweight to provide so much more, so that they just kept falling in love with these great Singer vintage machines. Does that sound familiar? Kind of like us falling in love with them? So really a pleasure to prepare this machine for one of the Stitchin' sisters and get it heading out to the great state of New Jersey soon as I have enough steam to pack it up, quite honestly, and get it heading it towards her permanent home. And also along with this, and you may have already seen it, have an original instruction manual that's going to go with this machine as well. And then a box of all kinds of goodies. I've got my screen the wrong way. Yeah, we can kind of see it. A box of all kinds of goodies you can kind of see in there. Bobbins, attachments, an old-fashioned tape measure, just all kinds of goodies. And one of the attachments that Alice was particularly interested in was a roller foot. And roller foots for Slant-O-Matic machines are a little bit hard to come by, but I was able to track one down for her. And I guess I could have used it in the premiere today, but I didn't use it because I wanted to show you that the machine doesn't need it to do a wide scope of sewing like I demonstrated live for you today in this premiere. Everything from canvas to leather to cotton to you name it. We got it done with a standard presser foot attachment, but this will be an added resource to Alice when this beauty gets out to New Jersey. So, and of course an original Singer box too. So thanks for tuning into this premiere, and had a chance to not only share Alice's machine, but also share a lot of other information that hopefully will prove helpful to you. And let's see here. That last one was called Fanta Mancane, and the next one is called Cuckoo. And I will come off the tripod with this final song. Gotta do it. Let's do it. Come on. We're getting low, but we're not out yet.
Hey, look at this moves. I didn't know that. Whippy, 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 whippy.
Scott's medication is kicking in right now, folks, right now. All right, well, thanks for joining me for this premiere where we can celebrate Alice's 301A getting ready to leave the workshop and head home. Head home to New Jersey. All right, God bless everybody, and remember, you're never old until regrets take the place of your dreams, and the greatest prize in life is working hard at work worth doing. That's what I do here at the workshop. And I'm sure you do very similar things where you're at. So keep it up, keep it up. And more premieres to come, Lord willing. Take care. God bless.